guys, we're back in the blind. Yesterday, I had 5 deer right there out in front of me. I normally put down food and leave, and sometimes on the mornings here. So I put down food and jumped right in the blind, and 5 deer came out. I did 1 grunt call, and then maybe 30-40 minutes later, I had 5 deer out in front of me for like over an hour and a half, till dark. So I'm gonna try a similar approach. I may call just a tiny bit more. I definitely plan on doing more than just 1 grunt call today, but we'll see. And trying to get a big boy in here. I had 2 young bucks and 3 does in front of me last night. There's some pretty decent sized bucks and then 1 really big one, and I'd like to get the really big one, obviously. Yeah, we'll see how the other ones look if they come out. If they're bigger than I thought, then maybe possibly take one and then save that last buck tag for the bigger one, but we'll see. Obviously, if a new one walks out that I haven't seen and he's bigger, I'll obviously take that shot, but hopefully the main one I'm after, named Curveball, comes in tonight or this evening, so we'll see. They come down that ridge, or sometimes just straight out there. They jump a fence, and then they walk on through and come right here. The creek is just over there. It also says there's a high probability of deer moving around today. On my way home, I saw like 5 or 6 really big bodied deer by the creek a little further down, so they're definitely on their feet, which is great. We'll see how it goes. guys. I've waited now for maybe, I don't know how long, 15, 20 minutes, but there was a buck here, and he went through this, and I shot him through that window. He's the big 8. He's not curveball, but I still have another tag left for him. So we'll see if I can find this buck. It's starting to get dark. It's still shooting light, but barely. So it's just barely, but let's go see if we can find him, I guess. Alright guys, I'm following blood. I'm in the creek right now. Because he went down this hill. And I think he went back up over that side, but I'm about to check. Alright you guys, we're across the creek. I've definitely found more blood.
You hopped the fence here?
Yeah, he hopped it right here.
Okay, yeah.
There's where I went over right there.
He was fixing to jump up in there, and he's like, no. It's classic.
How you doing, buddy? You tracked hard. You did a good job.
Yeah, he did, man.
You killed it.
He played with the thermals down there for a while.
All right, you guys. So we tracked the buck. We tracked him a pretty good ways. Ultimately, turned out pretty disappointing and frustrating. We never found the buck. I think we were really closing in, and at some point, all our lights we were using for tracking gave out and went out. So we were in the middle of the woods with no lights. Found our way out of the woods somehow, but it wasn't ideal to keep tracking. So again, that's the story of the tall 8. We never found him. He may have lived, he may not have. I'll have my eyes out this coming season to see if he gets on cam. But yeah, so in the situation, as you can see, he stood there for a long time, and you can barely see him. He's behind one of the poles in the blind, and he's behind that out there, but the pole and the blind is covering him. And then he did walk perfectly broadside, just a little bit quartering away, perfect shot. And at that point, I had said, I'm going to film him, but I'm not going to shoot. I'm going to wait for my number 1 curveball. And then I realized, this is a really good buck. What am I doing? And he ended up giving me kind of an okay shot, hard left window in my blind, and he got broadside right before he walked out of the frame. And that's when I let off a shot. I thought I hit him good, but, obviously not perfect, or we wouldn't have had to go through all that, and we would have found him. So it was a learning experience, and I think this coming season, obviously you're always going to have your main goals, and, I like to number things okay, that's my number 1 target, number 2, number 3, all that. But I think this season, what I may take into account is if you've got a pretty good buck there, number 2 or number 3, don't just wait for number 1, go for what you got in front of you that's good, and then go for that number 1 later, because you'll still have a tag, that kind of thing. So that may be my train of thought this year, we'll see. But that's pretty much what happened in this situation, is that mentally I had this mental blockage of it can only be my number 1, which is fine if you're willing to live and die by that, and just if you get nothing the whole season, you're still good. And I don't think I was really at that place. I wasn't willing to go through the season and get nothing just going for my number 1. And since I wasn't at that place, looking back, I definitely should have taken that shot as soon as he was broadside quartering away. Should have stopped him and just taken that shot right there, and we might have had a whole different situation on our hands. I don't think he would have gone far at all if I had shot right then. So it's a learning experience. If you can't tell, I'm a little under the weather right now. But that is the story of the tall 8.